Shalom, shalom to the house of Israel. I start off this lesson by first and foremost giving all honor, all glory, all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Abrakakudash. Double honors to the apostles, prophets, and teachers of Great Millstone, our spiritual fathers that rule well, teach well. Peace and salutations to the sincere Akim and Akwab, who follow this truth in all diligence and all sincerity. Right? This is not a black skin color doctrine. This doctrine and this message of salvation is to the bloodline and the lineage of those who are known as Israelites. Right? So we don't teach no salvation only for black people here. It's also for the speckled bird heritage of Yahweh, which are Israelites, but they look like the so-called heathen nations. With that being said, I have a little video to show you here, right? And it's going to highlight the true evils of how our women are. They are not in their right state of mind. These women are actual enemies against the men of Yasharallah. I want to read the first precept, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 56 and 57. Now this is part of the curses that Yahweh inflict upon the nation of Israel. It says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, for I shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter, and towards her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and towards her children which she shall bear. For she shall eat them for want of all things, secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. Now if you look at our women today, they openly voice their hatred for the so-called black man, the so-called Israelite man. And this is why this narrative, as I'm about to play the video, is prevalent among our community. Right? So let's play the video.
There's no turning back because these dusties are dusty. They just belong in a coffin. I agree.
And the only reason I support aborting a black child when it comes to it being male is because when I look at the black community and the problems in it, it's associated with males and male pathology.
So when you are a black man, thinking that the women who think this way and whose minds are captured, you are on the same team with them, you are not. You have to wake up to that reality. We can no longer say that this is only happening amongst white people and on the far right. There are black women who vote and follow every slogan, every trend, every talking point, and it's anti-family, anti-men, anti-boys, and anti-black boys in the womb.
Now notice what he said. All this is in relation to the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. Let me a second. All of this is in relation to the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28, which we just read. Our women are dealing with us with hatred. Right? We are only good to pay their bills and to serve them as slaves. Anything other than that, they see us as a menace and a threat. So much so that they consider the sons or the potential sons that they would birth to be nuisances, problems to get rid of. Notice what the lady see when she look at society. All she see, the problems of society is directly linked to the black male and male pathology. And that's wrong. That's a lie. The actual ills of society, it actually traces back to the woman and woman worship. Scripture say all wickedness is little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. Women are wicked. Now, am I saying every single woman are wicked? No. But most of our women are not in the right frame of mind. They are evil. They want nothing more to destroy their own people, their own kin. And as the scripture showed you in the curses, they don't even have pity for the husband, for the son, for the daughter, even the little ones that would be birthed through them. This is why they love to make songs and glorify abortion. Abortion is murder. Yet they make songs, get rich and famous, glorifying murder. You know, there are songs with women saying they can't wait to have an abortion. Some women even hinting to the fact that it was the best decision they ever made. They think the world would be a better place if they alone was in it. Right? And let's get some other precepts to go with that. Let's get Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 3. Lamentations chapter 4, we read verses 3 and 4. Right? It reads, this is Lamentations chapter 4. Give me a second here. It says, Lamentations chapter 4 from verses 3, even the sea monsters draw out the breast. And this is the thing. These women and mankind on a whole think they're better than the animals. Yet they don't operate like that. They operate at a far lower frequency than animals. Because even an animal, what the scripture calls a sea monster, draws out the breast. They give suck to their young ones. Right? The daughter of my people is become cruel. That is women today. They are disrespectful, very argumentative, they are spiteful. Their sole purpose is to destroy you as men. And notice the scripture says the daughter of my people are become cruel. When you could have women getting up on a podcast and talking about aborting black men. Black men are the problem and they need to be killed and unalive and put in a coffin. It really highlights and really shows the authenticity of the prophecies in the scriptures. It says, like ostriches in the wilderness, the tongue of the suckling child cleaveth to the roof of his mouth for thirst. The young children ask bread, and no man breaketh it unto them. When they drop down to verse 6, and this is what we're waiting for. For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom, that was overthrown as in a moment, and no hand shall stay her. So you women, get ready for Jacob's trouble. All of you who I prefer a bear than dealing with a man. If you were left in the forest or what have you, would you choose to be with the bear or be with a man? They said they choose the bear. They saw a bear, a literal apex predator, as less of a threat than an actual man. That logic is stupid, to say the least. You see, when an organism doesn't have the comprehension to understand a threat for its basic survival, that organism deserves to be eradicated. When you cannot tell what is friend and what is foe, you need to be eradicated. And this is why these women, the Lord is going to put them to death. When the scripture says the slain of the Lord is going to be many, it's going to be mostly women, because women outnumber men by a very large number. And these are the way they view their men. These are the way they view their husbands. These are the way they view their sons, with that blatant disregard and disrespect. This is why the Lord is going to overthrow them. Their body is going to lie in the streets like dung. Let's see another precept. Job 39 and verse 16. Job 39 and verses 16. It says, she is hardened against her young ones, as though they were not hers. Her labors is in vain without fear. And when you have women, as I said earlier, gathering on a panel to talk about the extinction of the so-called black man, you know we fulfilling prophecy here. Esau has weaponized our women against us. One form or the other, they are influenced by Esau's agenda. Whereas the woman back then was more in order. We're not saying it didn't have women who were not being respectful, but for the majority part, women were in order back then. So scriptures tell you she hardened her heart against her young ones. Let's see another precept. Let's see. Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 10. Going back to Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 10. It says, the hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. Now that is speaking both literal as well as a spiritual reference to what women are doing today. Many captivities that we were under, our women literally consumed their children to survive. When food was scarce and there was no opportunity to get it, they looked at the children and devoured them. And in today's time, women sacrificing their children for their ambitions, for their career. This is why when a woman, after a night of being overly promiscuous, and she finds out she is pregnant, what is the first thing she does? Immediately after the act, she goes for a plan B. And if for some reason she didn't take the plan B at that time, and she realized she is pregnant, what does she do? She goes and she aborts her child. She sets up an appointment to abort the unborn fetus. Right? Because why? I ain't reached the level in my career I need to reach. I ain't reached the level in my career that I need to reach. You know, I still have to accomplish this. I still want to travel and see the world. And having a child will tie me down. So what do they decide to do? Sacrifice that child on the altar for their dreams. You know, there's an old saying, a man would sacrifice his happiness for his family, but a woman will sacrifice her family for her happiness. And this is the mindset among the majority of our women. And this is why, as our beloved apostles say, at this present time, it ain't even expedient or wise to deal with the so-called black woman, because they are your enemy. They have joined hand in hand with the oppressor and seeking your destruction. These women is going to do anything to get rid of you. And they're saying it without any regard. They're saying it so callous. They care not for the statements that they make, because they're living in a society where they are supported in that belief. Why is no one condemning that? Why is no one speaking against women who push that ideology? Salakia, I'm going to get another precept to show you how wicked the woman is. The precept is Sirach chapter 25 verse 19. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. Women are women are capable of great wickedness. Time and time again in history, we have seen that. This is Sirach 25 and verse, we could start from verse 13. And we will read down. And you know, this is for you men who like to simp after these wicked women, who like to push the mantra, protect the black queens, protect the black women. Fuck the black woman. Because the black woman have no love for us. They don't care about us. They have no desire to see us living. You just hear women on a panel talking about we need to be unalived. And their future plans, should they be pregnant, to unalive their future sons. This is Sirach chapter 25 and verse 13. Give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman, and any affliction but the affliction from them that hate me, and any revenge but the revenge of the enemies. There is no head above the head of a serpent, and there is no wrath above the wrath of an enemy. And these women are our enemies. I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. For you men who have the unfortunate pleasure to be the fathers to these women, the brothers to these women, the cousins, the husbands, the sons to these women, I pity you, because this is how they actually feel towards you. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face, and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth. And you men simping for these women who would no sooner cast you into a den of lions. All you're good for is to pay their bills, to be their servants. Scripture say, let me get this. Give me a second. It says, many have gone out just give me a second. This is First Ezra chapter 4 and verse 26. Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sakes. Because it will have men hear women making these statements, and should a man decide to act out vengeance against them, oh, you got to protect the black queen, look out for her. You know, that's because men wasn't doing their job. Show me when black women were ever doing the job. Where was the disconnect? Where they all of a sudden they no longer desire to be a wife. They no longer desire children or to have a home and a family. When did that disconnect started? Because prior to that disconnect, there was no problem on such a large scale in the black family or the black homes. But with the introduction of feminism and good, strong family values being replaced with pride and selfish thinking, it gave birth to these wicked women who are able to enjoy a freedom in this space where they could openly talk about the genocide of the black man, and still have men who will come to their rescue and their defense. But to Wada Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, he's a power of justice. He's a power of judgment. And in his due time, you see in Jacob's trouble, you women going to be mourning. The vintage is going to fail. All that this system has allowed you and provided you to be so evil and to openly voice it, it's going to be taken away. And a lot of you, you're going to realize that your body that you spend all that money on to get your BBL and to get your Botox, it's not going to do anything to deliver you out of the calamities of Jacob's trouble. A word to the wise, to the men who serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, stay away from the nigger woman. Stay away. You would do well to stay away from the nigger woman. We have women in Yasharala who is of the Proverbs 31 standard. By all means, you could take those women as wives if you are able, if it's the Lord's will and blessing that you find such a woman. But you see the others, for you men who desire a wife, if you're looking in the Caribbean, we have a proverbial term. You're looking in the mangrove or the swamp. Don't expect to catch a goldfish. Right? Don't expect to catch a goldfish in the swamp. So with that, I pray that this lesson was edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. I'm your brother Abaniah saying Shalom, Labakariam, and see you for the next live lesson. Shalom.